All right, so I want to start briefly with your journey from high school to CEO. And if you could take us through what are some of the most prominent events that shaped who you are and how you think about leadership?
So as you mentioned, I needed a job to pay my way through school. So I got an hourly job at a warehouse unloading trucks. And my first day or my first week, they put me in a trailer with a guy named Johnny. And Johnny, it was Arkansas in the summertime. It's hot. He's working hard. He's sweating profusely. He's taking his shirt off. We're working. And he is in love with this company. And that caught my attention from the first moment. Doing work like that, what is it about this place that makes it special? And so I started learning about Sam Walton and seeing what the company was doing, and have learned about servant leadership, learned about the importance of purpose and values. Our company has really strong values, and learned a lot about change. And basically just caught the bug. I caught the bug for Walmart, I caught the bug for retail. And now we're in a situation where we're old. Walmart was born in 1962. We're large, so we're supposed to be slow. And a team of people that I'm leading is trying to defy history and prove that big companies can change.
So with that, I waited for one question to ask the obvious elephant in the room, your vision for the future of retailing commerce. I'm sure you weren't expecting me to go there. And how you think about the interplay, bricks mortar, online activity. How do you see it playing out? How do you win?
Yeah, so the way that I think about it is that the internet and technology are being hired to do anything that we as people don't enjoy doing and serve up things we might want to do. So if you just think about shopping for a moment, whether it's in a store or online, anything that you don't enjoy, parking in a parking lot, waiting in a checkout line, experiencing an out of stock, having a website be too slow, mobile app design, anything you don't like, we are going to solve to take all of that displeasure and friction out of the business so that you get to do the things that you enjoy and then serve up things to you that you might like to do. So that means that we've got to take advantage of data and technology and working different ways to make that happen. So we got little pilots going on all over the world. One of them here in this country is to take the items that you want to stay in stock on all the time and deliver them all the way into your house, into the refrigerator, into the pantry, so that you don't have to think about those things anymore. You can spend your time doing something else. So we want to be in a position where you can tell us, keep me in stock on Coca-Cola, Jif peanut butter, A1, steak sauce, and whatever else that you love, and it's just done. And because we've got these forward deployed distribution centers we call stores, they can be multi-purpose. They can enable you to have a great experience if we run them well when you come see us. We've got an expanding business where you can order on your mobile app and pick it up. We've got some fun things going on with Google to learn about voice and how voice shopping works, which we're excited about. And it's all on this journey of taking all the friction out and letting you do the things that you love to do.
And you talk a lot about speed. You talk about speed of change, how you need to move a company that's old, iconic, strong culture to move much more rapidly. When I think of speed, I think of this great quote from Mario Andretti, the great race car driver, who said, when he was asked what makes him great, he said, if I feel I'm in control, I know I'm not going fast enough, which I think is a good watchword for all of us. How do you speed up the pace at which those employees around the globe go? How do they get your vision and understand the urgency?
Yeah, so I've been in this role now for about 3.5 years. And when I moved into it, the leadership team that I work with, we all looked at each other and said, we know we're not moving fast enough. We could see the world moving faster than we were moving, and we wanted to change that. So we started this conversation within the company about how to go about doing that. And we learned some things like, with a large group of people, if you can explain to them what won't change, they can get their minds around being free to change everything else. So we spent time talking about the purpose of the company, which we got from our founder, Sam Walton, in 1992, was battling cancer, which ultimately took his life. And in January of that year, President H.W. Bush came to Bentonville, Arkansas, this small town, and presented him with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. And he stood up out of his wheelchair and he said, the secret is we're all working together. And if we continue to do that, we will be able to show people around the world what it's like to save money and to have a better life, to have a better lifestyle. And that became the purpose of the company as articulated in that moment. And so today you see Save Money, Live Better. That comes from Sam Walton. So we did things like, all right, that's not going to change. That's our purpose. That's a true north. That's a lighthouse. Go that direction. And we have 4 core values. They are respecting the individual, which leads us to diversity and inclusion and opportunity, striving for excellence, serving the customer, and acting with integrity. We want behaviors that align to those 4 values. That's all that's staying the same. Everything else can change, go. Start experimenting, start trying things on your own. And we have that today. We have people that are doing things that I don't know about and sometimes read about in the newspaper or some other place. And the place is starting to move. And now we're to a point where we're all looking at each other saying, wow, we're really moving fast. We've got a little bit of the Mario Andretti losing control thing going on. But we also still feel like we're not moving fast enough. So we're trying to press the pedal down and go even faster.
Any good tricks on how you press the pedal down? What are the best lessons?
Yeah, you can't punish failure. You got to learn from failure. And when something happens that didn't go well, we're trying to make it public and celebrate it.
Completely agree with that. So integrity, that's a core part of what you stand for, what the company stands for, and you can see that expressed so well in all that you do around disaster relief. And when we all watch what you do, the command and control kind of military precision, getting supplies out, is really impressive, moving, important. Can you talk about how do you go about doing that? What are the lessons others can learn, the lesson the government can learn from the way you've attacked disaster relief and how you put your role, how you see your role in this area?
Yeah, so kind of what happened was that there were a few moments in time. 9/11 was one of them where we had a store manager that saw the towers coming down and just took all the merchandise in the store and put it on trailers and drove it towards the site. Or this really big moment in our company's history when Hurricane Katrina happened. And it was Labor Day. We were on one of our conference calls talking about how we were going to move supplies into the area that needed it. And our CEO, Lee Scott, said to those of us on the call, this is a really bad situation. It's worse than anyone that we've ever seen. The government's not responding. Let's do this one differently. You are free to do whatever needs to be done. Send people, send expertise, send supplies. You're unleashed. Don't worry about what it costs. We'll figure that out later. And it did take us almost a quarter to figure out how much we had spent doing that. And so we had store managers, club managers, and all the rest of us doing whatever we could do. And if we were in Sam Walton's office, my office right now, and looked at the wall behind us, there's an image of Walmart tractor trailers going into that affected area lined up with the authorities stopping them until they're ready to go. And it's about as far as your eye can see. And that has led us to a point now where we feel like it's part of our purpose, it's within our calling. And so, this year's been a busy year, Texas, Florida, Puerto Rico, Mexico. Last week I was in Mexico City. We were recognizing 5 associates for what they did during the earthquake. One gentleman named Ivan had saved people's lives by getting them away from a wall that fell shortly after and actually did kill 3 people, 2 of them being our associates, but he saved many. Another guy that unloaded the store to go take supplies to the school where 19 kids had died because of the earthquake. We've got people doing incredible things on the ground in Puerto Rico, which is still, water is only about 72% in place and electricity still in the maybe 23% range. So still a lot to do there. And our folks are empowered. They don't wait to ask permission for something. This guy in Mexico City was a little worried last week that he was going to have to pay for all the supplies he took to the school. And we're like, no, man, you're good. This is the way we do it. So they're empowered. And today we have an emergency operations center that I think Secretary Carter would be proud of, where you can see it all. So before Puerto Rico started standing back up, we had some cameras in stores and we could see associates coming back in, putting the store back together, providing water to people free of charge before we even had the rest of the systems in place.
So you make a really interesting point. Yesterday, there was discussion about whether companies can do good if you're a public company or whether there's a tension. I think our view very strongly is that if you're doing the right thing for the long run and you're doing the right things for communities, that is the right thing for all constituents, including shareholders. You just made a very important point. At Walmart, you say it doesn't matter what it costs, we got to do the right thing for the community. Can you talk about this tension that was brought up yesterday and how you think about that short-term, long-term, and investing in a way that's supportive of the community, but it doesn't necessarily financially narrowly drop to the bottom line?
Yeah, we have an advantage in that the founding family still owns about half the business. So we have this combination of public company accountability, but some foundational thinking that enables us to think about the longer term, I think, in a more balanced fashion. That enabled the large wage investment that we made. It enables some of these other things that we just got through talking about. So we do feel the pressure of quarterly earnings releases and want to deliver and are trying to do a good job of balancing the short term and the long term. But we have been through some decisions, the Jet acquisition, this $2.7 billion in incremental wages, where we felt the consequences of making those longer term decisions. The day that we quantified the wage investment, our market cap went down by something like $21 billion. That was not an enjoyable day. But we had the support of the board, we had the support of the management team.
And it's obviously come back because you were doing the right
Got
thing.
it
But
back.
let's spend time talking about hourly wages, because that has been an issue that has been, circulating around Walmart. You went right after that one as well. Raised wages, put, as you said, $2.7 billion investment into education, wages, and training to improve careers for people. So how did you think about holistically what needed to be done and how you wanted to approach it?
Well, the plan basically came from our associates. So I had been in our international division for 5 years, traveling around the world. We're in 28 countries and was responsible for that portion of the business. And when I moved into this role, a number of us started going to stores here in the US and just on a surprise basis, all kinds of hours of the day, go in and see what the customers are experiencing. And then after a store visit, we always regroup and debrief with the team there. And the list of what needed to be done became really clear as we went from store to store. So our associates said, hey, we need to pay a higher starting wage rate because the market's moved and we're not above the market. We need to get there. We need better tools. We need information at our fingertips. We need an improved training program. We need less inventory. We need lower prices. So if you go from store to store and they're basically telling you the same thing, you pretty much have a roadmap on what needs to be done, and that's what we started to execute. So it started with a jump in the starting wage rate to help tell people we cared about them, engage our current associates, build a pool of talent that we could hire from that was different than the one we were currently hiring from. But what I learned is that it wasn't really about the starting wage rate as much as it was about getting all the other rungs in the ladder in place. So the training programs, we're opening academies in the US. By the end of the year, we'll have 200 academies open in the back of our Walmart stores where we're teaching people about retail fundamentals, retail math, customer service, how to use technology. The jobs that are in the store that aren't enjoyable, we're taking away with technology over time, and people can move up the ladder. 75% of our store management comes from the hourly ranks. Many of our folks started, didn't intend to be at Walmart for their entire career, and now they've been there, like me, a long time. So getting all of those things in place is what we're working on. And I think it's important. I think it's important for our business, but I also think it's important for the country. As automation happens, we need to get people ready for it.
Completely agree. I want to encourage people to go to the mics. I'll ask one more question, then we'll open it up to others, or I can keep going with a host of questions. We firmly agree. When you look at, we look out on the horizon, we think one of the most important things is education and job skilling, which is why we announced Grow with Google and the effort to put into it. As you think about this, the uses of technology, what would you like to see more companies doing as you ask this question? How do we retrain or properly train people for the jobs of the future?
Well, I don't think we've got it all figured out, but I think together we need to be figuring out how to design education of the future so that it works. And that may be collaboration with vocational schools in a different way and universities so that people can actually move up the ladder. And we've got a lot of people who aren't ready for that need to become ready for that. And I sometimes dream about the idea of taking these academies that we have and partnering with Google and people like Google to say, hey, we've now convened all of these people, And we're teaching them some things, but we could use those facilities to teach them even more.
Absolutely.
To help people, if they want to stay with our company, they're prepared to do that. And if they don't want to stay, go on to do other things. And we have all kinds, we have 1.6 million people. We have all kinds of people working for Walmart. We've got people that are semi-retired and that's their part-time job. The other day, I found a young man stocking the bottom shelf, and I stopped and talked to him for a little while. He's in school, making some money to become an engineer. People are going through our system, and we can help them be prepared for that if we work together. And I don't think right now the agenda in the country is appropriately focused on education as a root issue.
Got one question here.
Ruth, Craig Foreman from McClatchy, and Doug, this isn't a scripted question, more an impressionistic one. Retail, and especially brick and mortar retail, has been dramatically affected this year. Employment across the country, certain regions, awful lot of reorganization and bankruptcy, et cetera. You sit in a fairly unique position to see both physical retailing and digital retailing change. Give us some of your impressions of where this is going and how we ought to think about it as a nation and a group of communities.
It is a more dramatic period of change than I have ever experienced. I've been doing this 26 years. Our former CEO, David Glass, who did a fantastic job leading the company for a decade, and I were talking recently, and I asked, 1 to 10, how dramatic is this? Because it feels really dramatic to me, but is it just because I'm in the role? And he said, 1 to 10, you're about a 9. And then about a week later, I saw him, he said, no, I want to revise it, it's an 11. So there's a lot going on, and the way that I think about it is that if you don't move and you don't adopt the new tools that are available and provide for customers in the way I was trying to describe a minute ago, where you are taking away everything that's negative and giving them the positive, prices are going to go down, they're going to be more transparent, assortment's going to be broader, experience and service, both in stores and online, is going to change. If you don't lean into that, you're in big trouble. And there are a lot of companies that don't have the resources to do it and don't have the speed and some of the other things that are necessary to make it happen. So I think there is more disruptive change coming, but that's the way the market works. So what will happen to real estate prices? I think there'll be some pressure in the retail industry, but I think new things will be born that will take their place, and they'll be more experiential and service related. And in our case, if we don't invest in the store experience to make it a great experience, we'll be at risk too. But right now our store traffic is up because our stores are getting better, as well as we're building an e-commerce business. And what we're finding as it relates to this seamless omni strategy is that customers that don't shop us online but have shopped us in stores, when they shop online, they spend more in store. So the store volume's going up, and we're picking up the e-commerce relationship that we have with them. So I really do think omni strategy is the right approach, but not everyone's positioned to do it.
Next question. Oh, thank you.
Sorry, I'd actually, Britta Baumhardt from Church and Dwight. I'd like to build on the previous question. You appear very thoughtful of where the future's going to go. So if you look at stores 10 years from now, how do you think they will have changed? It's one of your biggest assets. So do you have a vision of what shopping in store or entertainment in store will look like?
Mm-hmm. I believe that you will have a relationship with the brand, ours and others, that is multidimensional. There'll be times when you're speaking with your voice, someday with VR and AR, it's coming soon. You'll come into the store at times, you'll do pickup at times, certainly you're having things delivered, sometimes all the way into your garage or your home or apartment, sometimes on the front step. All of that will happen in a somewhat seamless fashion. The store experience itself will see that some of the assortment that doesn't turn very quickly and is higher price point will move almost all e-commerce, pure e-commerce. And what's left in the store will be fresh. The sights, the sounds will matter more. So you'll see clearly fresh food's going to be there, and the way it's presented is going to be even more important. You won't have any tolerance for out of stocks. Today, we've got a test going on with a robot that we're developing in conjunction with a startup out of Carnegie Mellon that goes up and down the aisles, making sure that we're perfectly in stock, all the prices are right, the planograms are laid out the right way. So the level of excellence is going to go up. And as we've learned to pick from stores for pickup and delivery, our in-stock levels have gone up because you have to have a high in-stock level to use the store like a distribution center. So you won't find as many out of stocks. Checkouts are going to be gone because you don't enjoy checkouts. You're going to be able to use tools to navigate the store, and you're going to go there because it's fun, because you want to go there, not because you have to go there.
Go back to this side. Thank you.
Hello, Matt Mullenweg from WordPress. Walmart over the past decade has returned over, this is kind of for both of you actually, both Ruth and Doug, has returned about $118 billion to shareholders. Google also famously does not. So I was curious what you thought of each other's approaches to that.
She must have something better to do with her money.
We love Walmart.
The way we think about it is that we want to grow. Retailers that aren't investing for the future die. There's no steady state. So as we're designing customer experiences of the future that we believe we should invest in, we're investing in those. Today, our new store capital is coming down. Our e-commerce capital is going up. Our supply chain capital is going up. After we funded that growth, last year we had $31 billion in cash flow. We had money left over. So then we've supported a dividend that we've increased over a period of time greater than 40 years. So we're kind of an aristocrat as it relates to dividend increases. And then we have a share repurchase program for what's left. And that's the way we think of our uses of capital. If we come up with something great that we need to fund, we'll reduce the share repurchase program. We'll put more money into that.
We've laid out a capital return program the same way. Our view, the most important, most valuable opportunity for us to create long-term value for everyone in our ecosystem is investing in the business. So number one is organic, investing in the business. Number two is acquisitions. We've benefited from them over the years. And then further down the list would be return. So it sounds very similar. Over.
Morning, my name is Sarah Hofstetter. I run an ad agency called 360i. We represent a lot of CPG companies. And with all of the changes that you have in distribution, with the idea of having your associates do the shopping and bring it out to the parking lot, with e-com, with the voice integration that you guys are doing together, it's harder and harder for CPGs to become discoverable. What do you have planned to help these companies maximize their discoverability?
Yeah, brands are important, and we've built a business on selling brands for less and work hard with the CPGs to try and help them get positioned for the future. I think there's more change to come in that industry, and they need to become better at building their brands digitally. Probably investing more online would help. Marketing would probably be a good idea.
You got it.
To
Got
help
that one?
with that. Yeah.
Louder.
So innovation, they've got to invest in innovation so their products are really special. One of the trends that's happening in the world and within our business is that we're engineering private brand products that are outstanding and they have a great value. So there is pressure on that industry to change. Customers are going to find great stuff, whether it's on an app, on a mobile device, it's in a store, it's online, but the stuff better be great.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Robin Koval. I'm the CEO of an organization called Truth Initiative. We work to end the #1 cause of preventable death in the United States, which is tobacco. So my question is, what is Walmart's position, and are you considering taking tobacco out of your stores the way, for example, CVS has?
Yeah. We have considered that and routinely go back and address that issue. If you go into a Walmart store today and look at how we have it presented, I think what you'll find, if you haven't already, is that we're pretty deliberate about trying to minimize the advertising we do of the category. There's a lot of money at stake to drive tobacco advertising in store, and we don't take it. Instead, we suppress that, and our percent to total in the category is really low. And we have a pharmacy and health and wellness business that's important to us, so it could be in the future that we would eliminate it entirely. The biggest place in our business where we sell tobacco is in our Sam's Club business, and we serve independent convenience stores with it. And so that's the part of the business that we would really need to think about as it relates to the question.
Keep it in mind.
So we have 1 minute for the last
Seed
two
planted.
questions. Maybe if you could each ask them, and then he can wrap the answers together.
Real quick, Doug, Bayard Winthrop from American Giant. And we spent a lot of time, I think we've heard a lot over the last day about the disconnect between Silicon Valley and manufacturing towns. I think you guys serve a lot. I'd be curious to hear how you guys are thinking about U.S. made and U.S. manufacturing, and what role that plays for you guys, and important or not.
Yeah,
And the
it's,
second question, and then we're going to see if you can weave them.
I'll ask it quick. We talk a lot about data and speed. How do you measure the two? Because a lot of times you can get so much data, you actually do nothing, versus actually trusting your gut and making a decision going forward.
yeah, speed trumps perfect intelligence. I think that's the way that we think about it. We've got a lot of room to improve in the way that we gather and organize our data and put it to work, and that's something that we're working on, but we can't slow down and wait for that perfection. On the U.S. manufacturing question, really excited about a commitment that we made a few years ago to source an additional $250 billion in U.S. made product over and above what we were already buying. If you read the papers, you would think that we don't buy very much made in the U.S. That's just not true. The U.S. is by far the #1 country that we buy product from. Some of that's driven by the nature of the product we sell, food and consumables. But even on programs like bicycles and some of the things that moved overseas years ago, we have specific initiatives in place to put manufacturers together with parts suppliers and look at a way to bring that industry back to the U.S. And I'm proud that recently we started buying some bikes made in the U.S. again. So that $250 billion commitment, something we're on track to deliver. Last week we helped open a tire manufacturing facility. So it's happening, and we have annual gatherings where we try to pull people together to make it happen even more so.